Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Healthcare Insights with me, Dr. Aseem Sharma. A few days back, I got a frantic call from a patient at 11 p.m. She was asking for an emergency consult, claiming that half of her face was burnt. I immediately told her that we would, seek cross consultation with a plastic surgeon, and I was about to make that con call when she said, "पर डॉक्टर साहब, ये burn मुझे skin specialist के medicine के बाद हुआ है." I immediately shut my keypad and I asked her for further details. The next part actually amazed me and horrified me at the same time. Her neighborhood homeopathic doctor, who was incidentally treating her for her allergic complaints, suggested that she go in for a peel for her facial pigmentation. When I saw her the next morning, she had severe superficial burns to the face, for which I had to treat her very aggressively to prevent further damage in terms of pigmentation and scarring. This particular skin specialist used a self-formulated, undiluted peel. Now imagine, for a simple facial pigmentation which could have been managed properly the right way, she ended up with first-degree burns. She wasted time, money and efforts. And I'm not even going to begin to speak about the emotional trauma that she underwent. Now I ask you, whose fault is that? Is it the patient's fault? Patients are naive, ill-informed, they don't read up as much, they don't know who to go to for a consultation. Is it the homeopathic doctor's fault, who misinformed her, misrepresenting his qualifications and masquerading as a skin specialist without any qualifications, without any business of him doing the same? Isn't this a blatant form of quackery which is prevalent in every nook and corner of this country? Or is it the fault of aggregators and doctor listing portals who couldn't care less as long as the business keeps coming in? Or is it the fault of our administration, which isn't keeping these things in check, which is not checking degrees and qualifications before registering a clinic, which is not checking with the State Medical Council as to whether he or she is even qualified to practice the said branch? Speaking of administration, ironically, we actually had an extremely disappointing comment which was made recently by a sitting Rajya Sabha MP, where he so casually and impulsively said that he always trusts his compounder over his doctor. Now, don't get me wrong, while I have immense respect for compounders, such a statement is so demoralizing at a time when doctors are at the front line against COVID. Doctors are laying down their lives, everybody is in jeopardy, and such a statement comes across. But let's leave that for another day. Let's come back to the point at hand. If a compounder is writing medications without his doctor's approval, this is quackery, because they have no formal training to treat, diagnose, or even prescribe independently. Mere observation, association, or experience under a doctor doesn't give you the right or legality to practice. You'll be surprised at the number of dentists, engineers, technicians, and other specialists doing hair transplantation when it has never been a part of their curriculum or training. And they usually hide behind the garb of paid reviews, colossal marketing strategies, and over-the-top public profiles, with the sole intention of trapping gullible, ill-informed, and naive patients. Please, as a take-home, remember this one point. If your salon or parlor lady is injecting growth factors into your scalp for hair regrowth, the cost that you saved there is definitely going to be borne by you in terms of side effects. I have countless such patients who come in for firefighting, just saving and revising whatever has been messed up. Another disturbing trend is to use fancy dandy degrees, associations with foreign universities, and even these short-term trainings to mislead the public about their own qualifications. Most of these degrees are not recognized by the Medical Council of India. Having said that, there are so many people who switch specialties. See, we all start off in some way and then we progress to another. Some people redo formal board certified courses, undergo the necessary training, and then start practicing as skin specialists. That is absolutely correct. My talk today focuses on dermats only as a reference marker because I myself am a dermatologist, but this happens in every single field. Lastly, just because someone has been practicing as a quack for eons doesn't justify the qualification or the lack of it, for that matter, because experience is not a substitute for the qualification. This is not me. This is the Medico Legal Yearbook published by the Indian Institute of Medicine and Law, which says that. So friends, there are a few things that we can change, even though associations are working long and hard to change these things and to attempt to make a difference. But rather than waiting, there is a part in this which you as patients have to change and which you as patients have to play. I implore you to do your research properly. This is 2020. You can profile your doctors. You can see if they're certified. Check if they've done any published papers or they have any research in the subject or experience in the field. See if they are board certified. For example, any skin specialist practicing in this country has to be certified by the Indian Association of Dermatologists, Venereologists and Leprologists, which is our national board. If you are still doubtful about any particular specialty, please drop in the degree in the comment section below and I'll be happy to personally help you out with the formal degrees in that particular field which you should be looking for. Friends, I'll end on this note. Let's curb this menace together, because quackery is a menace which will really lead us down in the dumps one day. Thank you.